Hi, if you want to watch exclusive content with hot girls that you won't watch on YouTube, namely where Naruto roasts Kushina and Mikoto and many other hot girls without restrictions, then visit my Boosty channel at the link in the description.
In the Valley of the End, two guys fought, Uchiha Sasuke and Uzumaki Naruto. The second, along with his friends, went to return Uchiha back to the village. Naruto was ready to smash himself against the wall to prevent his best friend from going down the dark path. And so the two friends flew at each other. Explosion. At this point, Kakashi arrived and saw the injured students. Looking at their injuries, he realized that they could die if they were not brought to the village. The man wasn't in the best condition. After the battle with Kabuto a couple of days ago, then with some of Orochimaru's henchmen, which came to the aid of the Sound Four, he was weakened. Realizing that he could only carry one, and that with great difficulty, the choice fell on Sasuke. He was not so badly wounded. The gray-haired man put him on his back and went to the village. Naruto, who was still conscious, watched in disbelief as his teacher walked away, leaving him behind. The rain made the stone riverbank the blonde was on slippery. The boy began to slowly slide into the river. A few minutes later, he was already floating downstream. End of prologue. Part 1. Take off your rose-colored glasses. Naruto woke up in the subconscious and saw himself in front of him. The only difference was in the eyes. The clone had a red pupil with a black scara. "Who are you?" Naruto asked. "I am Yami, or your dark side," said the clone. "What do you want?" Naruto asked. "I want to take off the bookmarks and open your eyes to another part of the world," he said and hugged Naruto. "You have to take off your rose-colored glasses." When it was all over, Yami had disappeared and Naruto had appeared in front of the cage, with his back to it. Kyuubi had woken up and was wondering what the Jinchuriki would do. It was all a lie, he began to reason out loud. "I was just a weapon. I didn't notice such simple facts because of my optimism and bookmarks. I mean almost nothing to my friends. Shikamaru doesn't give a damn about anything. Choji, every now and then, eats. Kiba is an idiot who thinks he's better than everyone, although who's talking? Niji was an asshole until he punched him. Sakura and Ino are fucking whores and fools, and I was chasing one of them, idiot. They don't think about anything except Sasuke. Sasuke, a complete idiot, only thinks about strength and revenge. It would be better if he really went to Orochimaru. Kakashi said that those who abandon friends are worse than trash, and he abandoned me. Old Man 3, an old fart, took all my inheritance, lied to me, put bookmarks, so let him suffer in Shinigami's stomach. And my godfather left me alone and went to brothels and wrote his damn porn. I tried to help everyone, make friends, but I was simply betrayed. Even my own father and mother sent me to eternal hell." Kyuubi was surprised that her Jinchuriki was in such a state. And he was the most resilient in her entire life. She even secretly respected him. It was unusual for her to see him morally broken. "Almost everyone hates me, except for a couple of people, but they are no better, they just left me to die. They tried to kill me since childhood. First they starved and beat me, then they burned me, drowned me, until I graduated from the academy." That withering look of malice. For what was I born? I was born to suffer all my life? No one will understand me, not even Gaara. At least he has protection in the form of sand, he could easily deal with the inhabitants. And I could calmly die on the very first day of my life. And I was always alone. Kyuubi understood him, she had also wondered all her life what it was for. Having calmed down more or less, he looked around and saw a cage. He stood up and went into it. And the fox did not understand what he wanted. When the guy entered the prison, he looked into the fox's eyes. "Kill me. I'm tired of living," the blonde said with confidence in his eyes. And Kyuubi looked at him with disbelief. How could this man give up what they had brought the poor child to? After thinking for a bit, she decided to take everything into her own hands, or rather her paws. "You're wrong. I can understand your pain like no one else," she said. And Naruto looked at her with his eyes like 5 kopecks. Since he was close to the fox, looking closely, he saw many scars under the fur and felt guilty before her. Forgive me, I was a complete fool, because I didn't see how you were suffering. But you were also always alone, everyone hated you, and also caused you great moral and physical pain. Forgive me, he said. I forgive you, and since you have freed yourself from the shackles of the village, would you like to become my student and friend? Well, I agree. That's great. Hyubi-san, the Jinchuriki began, but he was interrupted. First of all, none of these stupid suffixes, and since we're friends now, call me Kurama, because that's my real name. Okay, Kurama. Can I pet you? Asked the boy. After thinking for a bit, the fox agreed, because it would strengthen their relationship. Can. He slowly approached her and began to stroke her carefully, afraid that he would be eaten. Be brave, I don't bite, said the fox. Overcoming his fear, he stroked the fox, which made her start to purr. After he tried to open the seal, Naruto's parents appeared, but the boy did not listen to them. As an apology, they gave him the key to the seal, information about techniques, training, etc. After apologizing and saying that they love him and will support him in any choice, they began to disappear, but they heard their desired words "I forgive you" and disappeared. End of the section. Commentary on Part 1. Take off your rose-colored glasses. Hello everyone. I want to say that I am not used to seeing Naruto in a depressed state, but for the plot I had to try. I tried to find bad qualities in Naruto's friends, and what I found is what you read. Part 2. The beginning of a new life. Naruto opened his eyes this time in the real world. Looking around, he saw that he was washed up on the shore, all the wounds were healed. But the clothes were torn, there was no food and money. And what should I do? Calm down, said Kurama. Ouch. Naruto cried out in his subconscious from fear. What are you yelling about? You scared me. Okay, listen carefully, you have a weapon and chakra. When you meet someone, you need to kill him and take valuables. But you can't do that, the boy tried to object. Do you want to die? No. Okay, do what I say. Hi. Naruto said and went in an unknown direction. A couple of hours later, he came to the road where a traveler was passing by. Luckily for the Jinchuriki, he was an ordinary person, so the traveler did not notice how he was killed. Naruto received a black cloak, money, food and a couple of things that can be sold or used for survival. When evening came, he lit a fire and sat down in front of it. After thinking about everything he had done during the day, the boy began to cry. What's wrong? Asked the nine-tailed fox, who had come out of the seal and had been reduced to the size of a human. I killed an innocent man. I'm no better than some apostates. And that's it? Listen, forget about society now. There is a rule of nature, the strong feed on the weak, so follow it. And you will immediately feel better, said the fox. Thank you, Kurama, the calmed-down Jinchuriki thanked her. Okay, now go to bed. No refusals accepted. I understand, he said and lay down on the ground. When he fell asleep, Kurama lay down next to him and covered him with her tails. The next day, Naruto walked along the same path where he killed the traveler, hoping to find a settlement. In half a week he came to a small village. During all this time, Kurama did not stick her nose out of the seal, and Naruto was always in a cloak with a hood thrown over him. One day, Naruto swore to her that he would never cry. Hyubi did a great job of forming a normal personality of the Jinchuriki. How did she do it? She simply kept nagging him about how he should now behave in society. Let's get back to the present. Having found the tavern, he entered the building and wanted to approach the bartender, but... What kind of a baby is this? Go to your mommy. This is no place for children, said the man, and he was clearly not an ordinary citizen, but some kind of robber. Do you want problems? Said the blonde, he definitely doesn't like this guy. Have you completely lost your place? He began, but he was interrupted by a kunai in Naruto's stomach. Don't underestimate me, Naruto said angrily. He remembered the man on the reward poster. This man killed all the villagers in the south with extreme cruelty. The boy was torn apart with anger at the sight of him. "Oh, you," this time the bandit's throat was torn out. Naruto grabbed him by the scruff of the neck and asked the bartender where he could get his reward. After learning everything he needed, he went to get the reward. After receiving it, he took a room in a hotel and went to sleep. End of the section. Part 3. Training. The next morning Naruto had a good breakfast and was walking down the road, wondering what he should do. "Since you can only be here for about 2 weeks, then let me train you." "I'm all for it, then I'll go to the forest." "Where do we start?" asked the Jinchuriki, already in the forest. "First, let's start with physical training. In a couple of hours. You're going to kill me. I'm going to die now." The blonde barely spoke. "Well, I think 500 approaches are enough," said the fox sitting in front of the poor boy. After an hour's rest, they moved on to the technicians. "I know your elements: fire, wind and lightning. Let's start with fire, because I understand it. So much so that you will use fire without seals. Let's start with a fireball. Use clones to speed up the learning process." "Hi." After another couple of hours, there was nothing left of the forest. "Well, since you have learned this technique, now you will use it without seals and create it in different parts of the body." Naruto spent the rest of the day on this task, but got good results. And after eating dinner, he was happy as a dog. But Kurama had to drag him to the room, because he could not move from exhaustion. In addition, he had a full stomach. And when he walked, the opinion appeared that he was drunk. That's how he walked. "I brought this on myself," she growled. During these 2 weeks Naruto learned several fire techniques without seals and added wind elements to them for reinforcement. He improved his taijutsu, because with banal blows you can't do anything to an opponent who has 9 limbs. After buying a bingo book, cards, food, and packing his things, the Jinchuriki headed down the road to the country's border. The road ahead was not an easy one. He had to get out of the country in a short time, because Konoha had started looking for the Jinchuriki, or at least make sure that he was dead. On the last night he discussed with the fox which country they would go to for a while. In the end, they made a whole route where they would go, first to the waves, then to the sand, from there to the whirlpool or vice versa, it doesn't matter, and between them there are small countries. It's a few kilometers to the wave country, but after thinking it over, Naruto would rather go through other countries. It turns out that the road will take about 2 months, but he will have fewer encounters with Konoha shinobi. 2 months passed smoothly. Naruto managed to finally train his 2 elements, fire and wind. He still hadn't figured out lightning. Kurama doesn't understand it, and learning it himself is not an easy task. Taijutsu also got better, but not enough. In addition to training, he killed people from the bingo book, for which he received money, and Kurama got his soul and chakra. Yes, after Naruto learned that Kurama can become stronger when he eats people, their chakra and souls, he walked around with eyes the size of saucers. Upon arrival, Naruto took a room at the hotel, and immediately collapsed and went to sleep. Kyubi didn't mind, she was no less tired from the road. End of the section. Commentary on Part 3. Training. Hello everyone. I want to apologize for such a short part, and I will say right away that the next parts will be of normal size. Part 4. The Fool and the Lightning. One day, clouds were gathering in the land of waves. In a clearing in the forest, Naruto was training the lightning element. He was very good at it. And then another attempt to recreate a completely new technique led to the lightning appearing and striking a 9-tailed fox that was peacefully sleeping on the grass. So I'm sleeping, not bothering anyone, and then... Well, that's it, fox, said Kurama and started shooting fireballs like a machine gun. I'm sorry, the blonde shouted. When Kyubi got tired of the chase, she lay down on the grass again. The clouds began to thicken even more. Naruto decided that this time he would pour in a lot of chakra. Having done so, he began to gather elemental chakra in his hand. and suddenly, a huge lightning bolt flew from the clouds at him. Kurama smelled something burning, and a large source of elemental and natural energy appeared behind her. She turns her head and sees a large stream of lightning hitting Naruto. "Naruto, stop, or you'll turn into a vegetable and a battery," she shouted at him. Hearing this, Naruto tried to release lightning in some way. But his body stopped obeying, and he began to panic. And then a miracle happened, his body simply instinctively released lightning through his other hand towards the mountain. Well, like an avatar, after checking that Naruto was okay, Kurama turned her head towards the mountain and her jaw rolled across the land of waves. "Kurama, what's wrong?" Naruto said and looked there and was shocked. There was nothing left of the mountain, not even a word. When the dust settled, they saw a large fox and at the same time very angry. "It's a chakra beast." They died out. "Naruto, it looks like you broke his house where he was in a big hibernation. And now he's angry and very hungry," said the fox. "And what about Naruto?" "He's already gone. He's not one to be timid," he ran straight to the beast. "Hey, wait, what about me?" said Kurama and ran after him. Naruto had a lot of elemental chakra left, so he wrapped himself in wind and ran at a tremendous speed. When the boy was in front of the fox at a short distance, the blonde created a blade from the wind. Sliding under it, it ripped open the stomach and in addition to all the organs, the animal could not stand it and fell to the ground in an eternal sleep. "Do you mind if I eat it?" asked Kyubi, who had come up to him. "Yes, no, just don't touch the skin." "And why do you need it?" "Anything can come in handy." When the fox finished eating, she climbed into the seal. And Naruto took the skin and went to the room. After doing the rest of the routine, he lay down on the bed. Naruto often thought at night, was it worth it to go with the fox, but again came to the conclusion that it was worth it, and went to bed. That night he had nightmares, in them he saw all the torments he received in the village. Meanwhile, Kurama was thinking about an equally important matter: what should I do with him? If I leave this blockhead to himself, he will definitely get into some kind of trouble and die. And I can't let that happen. He is the first person who has become friends with me, not counting my father. Maybe I can make him immortal, but how? Sure, there is one way, but it hasn't been worked out yet. The next day, when Naruto came to that same clearing, a fox came out of the seal. "Naruto, I have a proposal for you," she said. "And what is the proposal?" "You can become stronger and even immortal, but this path will not be easy." "And what is this path?" "The way of the Biju," said the fox. The path of the Biju? Kurama, did you smoke anything there? A human can't become a Biju. Especially me, a Biju? Don't make me laugh. Naruto said. Firstly, it can be done. Secondly, you will get it from me. Do you even know how much I suffered that night? I didn't sleep all night and thought about this method, for you. And you, a fool, she began to scream and then cry. I'm afraid of losing you, because you are my first and only friend. Forgive me, Naruto was ashamed, he simply refused his girlfriend's help. And refused it brazenly. And to top it off, he brought her to tears. He hugged the fox and began to stroke her, thereby calming her down. So you agree, she said, calming down. Naruto thought, is it worth it or not? He wanted to refuse again, but this time politely, but the boy remembered the nightmares and life in the village. Naruto understood only one thing from all this, he was always weak compared to others, because of this he was always bullied. He must be the strongest, so that no one can bully him and Kurama. They suffered enough. I agree, he said confidently. That's great, listen carefully. End of the section. Commentary on Part 4. The Fool and the Lightning. Hello everyone. I have some important news for you. In short, I have a frozen fanfic, but it is moving into finished mode, and the first season is written there. Secondly, the fanfic Naruto and the Living Weapon will be temporarily frozen until this fanfic is finished. Part 5. The beginning of the journey. That's great, listen carefully, while we are in the land of waves, you must train your body, endurance, and especially the SCS. After that, we will go to the maelstrom, and there we will find some records. The problem is that you need to have colossal preparation, because you will receive a lot of pain. Well, and in addition, I need to finish my SCS. Kurama gave a lecture. Do you and the other Bija have SCC? Asked Naruto. Not really. We didn't have it at first, then when the Sage of the Six Paths released us, we got it, but it was primitive. However, after learning to manipulate it, we began to perfect it. I was the best at it, due to the large amount of chakra. But when sealing me into you, your father divided me into 2 parts. You can't even imagine how painful it was. My entire SCC was torn and the pain was enormous, as if I was cut in half. The fox said in the end, already in a sad voice. Forgive me if I rubbed salt into the wound. I promise that no one will ever split you into any parts or seal you away, the blonde encouraged her. So, why are we sitting around? Let's work, you have to train until you can't stand up. Well, and I have to heal my CTD completely, said the fox. On one half of the clearing you can see the 9-tailed fox sitting with his eyes closed and meditating. On the other half sit clones of the blonde and also meditate. Only the original, i.e. Naruto, worked like crazy. At one point, Kurama opened her eye and looked at the boy. Naruto, I have to keep a close eye on you until you become a Biju, she thought and continued her meditation. Naruto spent the next 3 months training. He now had an athletic build. His SCH was at the level of a strong Kage. And his stamina was enormous, even compared to Uzumaki's standards. He spent the remaining time on ninjutsu. And Kurama finally restored his SCH. Naruto's character changed a little. Now he could calmly take control of his emotions. However, not everything was so smooth. For example, yesterday. Flashback, yesterday. That day Naruto trained until he lost his pulse again. Of course Kurama brought him to his room and put him to bed, because they would soon be leaving. However, during the night Naruto woke up to relieve himself and wandered to the toilet combined with the bathroom. When he approached the door, he saw a light under it. Robbers, he thought, and began to create a paralyzing lightning technique. Abruptly entering there, he saw a girl with fiery red hair. And you will think, so what? Really, so what? It's true that she was naked, because she was drying herself after taking a bath, and in addition, she had fox ears and 9 tails. Naruto froze in shock at what he saw. And Naruto? The stranger said, stuttering a little. And Naruto was taken aback by this and wanted to leave the room, when suddenly he stepped on the soap. And our main character found himself in a dream world. End of flashback. He recovered in the morning, and this time, having already gone to his needs, the blonde sat down at the table. Eating ramen, he called his girlfriend. What do you want? She asked. You know, I had a very strange dream, he began. And what kind of dream? After what was said, she tensed up. I woke up at night and went to the bathroom to do some important business. When I got to the door, I saw a light and thought there were robbers there. I went in there, and there was a girl, and she was naked. And she said my name when she saw me. Wait, she had fox ears and 9 tails. 9 tails. Kurama, are you hiding something from me? Naruto started to get worked up. Looking at the fox, he saw her eyes darting around in panic. Kurama? I have 3 forms, my real form, Kitsune, now I'm in my second beast form, and then you saw me in my human form, it can be with or without tails and ears, i.e. the 3rd form. For the last one, I need the SCS because of some problems. The author did not come up with an explanation. Well, after returning it, the SCS, I decided to wash myself while you were sleeping, because it's impossible to use the shower normally with my paws. I had already dried myself and was about to return to the seal, when you were already at the door. And then you slipped and fell. Forgive me for hiding this. I won't be offended if you hate me. Kurama finally curled up into a ball, waiting for retribution. But instead Naruto started petting her. It would be stupid of me to hate you. But tell me about such things from now on. And if I had tried to kill you then, everything wouldn't have been so good. Naruto said, scratching the fox's belly. When you saw me naked, you froze in shock. Did you like my body? Naruto blushed deeply from what he said, and Kurama giggled from his face. And when I pet you and scratch your belly, it turns out that I touched at least your chest. If it weren't for the fur, the fox's face would have been all red from these words, but her frozen ears and fluffed-up tail gave her away. And Naruto laughed like a horse from this. Idiot, pervert. Kurama chased him throughout the entire room, and then raped him, she wanted to say, but that's not what was needed. Quickly taking the already folded things, Naruto ran towards the land of waves. And Kurama simply returned to the seal and began Kurama therapy. End of the section. Commentary on Part 5. The beginning of the journey. Hello everyone. In short, please don't beat me up for crooked romance, I'm not a master at it. And now my parents don't let me sit normally on the phone or computer, but this won't affect the writing of the parts, but it will affect their release. That is, it will come out early in the morning or in the evening. Part 6. A whirlpool of ruins and scrolls. For about a month, our company walked to the port city, stopping for the night and hunting for Nukenin and criminals. Having arrived at the port, they began to look for a ship with a crew that would take them to the island they needed. Unfortunately, the sailors were afraid of the waters they needed to go to. Unable to bear it, Kurama used Genjutsu on one of the teams. Of course, she wasn't the best at it, but it worked on ordinary people. So they sailed to the island a week later. So, what are we going to do here? Naruto asked. I will look for my old notes, and you will teach your clan's Fuinjutsu, Kurama answered him. Kurama, please tell me, did anyone from my clan survive? Unfortunately, no, Kurama answered sadly. How did my clan disappear? Naruto asked the third question. Your clan was very powerful, but very peaceful. It did not get involved in wars. But 3 countries united against him. The Uzumaki would have won if the barriers hadn't fallen and Konoha's help had arrived in time. But in my humble opinion, the Konoha elders betrayed your clan while the Hokage was unaware. Kyubi said with melancholy in her voice. She didn't want Naruto to suffer. So, the Konoha people betrayed my clan, my father, and me. Here we are, the fox changed the subject. There looks like a barrier here. Yeah, bite your finger and put it on the barrier. Having done all of the above, they saw the ruins of the city. Let's go, said the fox, and they went deeper into the village. Now let's build an explanatory dispenser. The explanatory distributor has been built. When the attack happened, the barriers were disabled for a couple of days, and then they came back. And since the Uzumaki saved their knowledge, the attackers didn't get anything, they just lost 80% of the entire army. The explanatory dispenser was destroyed by a spy. They walked until they reached a huge building. Although it was destroyed, it was still very beautiful. Okay, there should be a passage here, the fox said and sat down on the huge Uzumaki clan sign on the floor. Probably, Naruto stood next to him. About Kyubi no Yoku, and the surviving Uzumaki, said an old voice. Wow! The named duo cried out. Who are you, old man? And what are you doing here? Naruto asked. I am Uzumaki Ashina. I understand that Kyubi came for her notes, and you, young man, for the clan's inheritance, said the gray-haired old man in close from those times. How are you still alive? Kurama asked. I'm not alive, consider me just a clone. I'm here to open the way to the vault for you and tell you that your grandson is now the new Uzukage. Ashina said, disappearing. Farewell. Is he my grandfather? Naruto asked. It seems so, the fox answered him. Suddenly, in place of the clan sign on the floor, a staircase appeared leading down. Go ahead, this is the entrance to the storage facility. The vault consisted of a huge underground room and tall wooden cabinets with scrolls. It took them a month to calculate the first cabinet, and there are only 5 of them. One day, Kurama went to the river while Naruto was preparing food. We've already read half of the second cabinet. What's taking her so long, he thought. The blonde got up and went to the river where Kurama was. Looking out from the hill, he saw Kurama bathing in her true form. She looked like a humanoid fox. The body structure could be said to be human except for the head and legs. She had fiery red fur. Her muzzle was like a fox's with long ears, and she had long hair down to her shoulder blades, the same color as her fur. She had a third-size chest. I don't know anything about that, by the way, a good waist, a firm but with 9 fluffy tails. In addition, she had strong and elegant legs. Or paws. P.S. Her legs are like Grievous from SW, it's easier for me to describe their shape this way. Meanwhile Kurama. Now I can go swimming in my real form. Naruto won't be coming soon, and when he does, I'll return to my beast form. But the wind was blowing in her direction, and the smell of cooked food was overpowering Naruto's smell. But unfortunately, the wind stopped blowing and Kurama caught its scent. Turning her head, she saw a hill. And after a couple of seconds she was standing on it and looking at Naruto. Kurama, there, it is, dinner is ready. Naruto said. And Kurama didn't understand why he was looking at her so strangely. Looking down and seeing herself naked, she immediately returned to her animal form. Naruto, are we spying on girls? She asked. No, what are you talking about, Kurama? The boy tried to get out of it. Well, that's it, Naruto, you'll be the signature dish today. Realizing that worse than just a hungry 9-tailed fox would be a very angry and very hungry 9-tailed fox. In about 2 hours they managed to do training, sparring, and eat. And still, I'll eat you someday, said the fed kitsune. She is now in human form. And I've told you over and over again that I'm inedible, the boy said indignantly. We'll check now, she said and, appearing behind him, licked his neck. Save me, a huge fox is about to eat me. Naruto screamed and immediately found himself on a tree. You are very tasty, said the fox. What's wrong with you? You're completely nuts, the red Jinchuriki was indignant. Oh, come on, I was just kidding. Let's go, break's over. It took 5 months to read 3 cabinets with scrolls. It turned out that the records were becoming more and more intricate. And it took more time than expected to read them. And here is the last cabinet, where Kurama found her records, and Naruto found a bunch of encrypted records. And they spent another 2 months to decipher and read the scrolls. Then a month to consolidate the material studied. Naruto, I have something to talk to you about. End of the section. Commentary on Part 6. A whirlpool of ruins and scrolls. Hello everyone. Guys, there will be hentai, don't worry. Now my question, is it possible to insert pictures into fanfic instead of links to them? Part 7. And I won't spoil it this time. Naruto, I have an important conversation with you, said Kurama. Yes, did you want something? Naruto asked. I wanted to talk about your transformation into a Biju. Firstly, when you become a Biju, the seal will be destroyed. Secondly, I calculated some nuances during the transformation process. And what kind? The process can stretch from 1 day to a week. And during this time, we will be emitting chakra to the ends of the earth, so we will need to put up barriers. The only thing that is unknown is how much they will restrain my chakra. I wouldn't want guests at an inopportune moment. Thirdly, so that you are not weak, I will share my power with you. And now we need to get ready. In a couple of days we will go to Suna, there are few people there and you can escape at any moment. Kurama finished her speech. Then I'll go, Naruto said. He packed his backpack with the most necessary things, money, maps, his notes, throwing weapons, food. He began wearing the skin of a chakra beast, the same fox in the land of waves, instead of his already tattered cloak. He also carried 2 axes with short handles made of chakra-conducting metal, which were useful not only in battles, but also in everyday life. He found them in the weapons room, located next to the storage room. Before Naruto knew it, he was already lying in his sleeping bag. They were leaving tomorrow and he needed to get some sleep, but Naruto couldn't sleep. Lately he's been wondering, what does Kurama mean to me? So Naruto decides to take a walk around the area and try to answer his question. Maybe she is a teacher for him? It was so, but this student-teacher relationship grew into friendship. But now the question is, between them, maybe there is something stronger than friendship? Love? For Naruto, she was a beautiful appearance in all its forms. Yes, her character is sometimes not the best, but show a person who has no flaws. Then the question is asked, will she reciprocate his feelings? Turning his head, he saw Kurama in her true form. It seemed she had decided to take a walk as well, and given her mistakes when Naruto caught her in an awkward moment, she had gone quite far from the camp. Realizing that this was his chance, Naruto approached Kurama. Kurama. Naruto? What are you doing here? Kurama, I wanted to tell you something. Naruto began to blush. What? Asked the surprised girl. She thought his behavior was strange. And on top of that, her empathy showed him embarrassment? And there was no point in her transforming into an animal form. Naruto had already seen all her forms. Well, how can I say? Naruto's heart was beating wildly. Calm down, tell it like it is. The fox tried to help him speak out. Kurama, I love you. I love you in all your incarnations, forms. Naruto squeezed out of himself. From these words, Kurama herself fell into a stupor. No one had ever said such words to her. No one loved her in any form. In her animal form, she is feared. In her real form, she is called ugly and a mistake of nature. In her human form, people fall in love with her until she shows her tails and ears. And here, I love everything about you, your character, your ears, your eyes, and your tails. Naruto slowly walked towards Kurama, and she slowly walked back until she pressed her back against a tree. Taking advantage of the chance, Naruto grabbed her black lips. He did not expect a response to his feelings, thinking that he would be rejected. But his terrible proposals were shattered by Kurama's response to the kiss. I love you too, she said. My little fox, said the blonde and hugged her and began to stroke the kitsune, from which Kurama began to purr throughout the forest. And you are my little fox, she replied and began to stroke his torso. Warning, 18+. When they got tired of hugging, they decided to take a walk to the camp. When they got there, Kurama pushed Naruto onto the sleeping bag. You know what I want, right? She asked. Naruto immediately pressed his lips to hers and began to study her body, running his hands over her back, butt and legs. When that wasn't enough for them, Naruto began to nibble on Kurama's ears, which made her squeal a little. Having played with them enough, he began to move down to her neck, but stopped only for a couple of seconds to smell the pine needles coming from it. Having moved down to the cherished neck of his beloved, he began to leave hickeys on it. Yes, her fur was really in the way, but Naruto didn't care. He was glad that he was giving pleasure to his cute little fox. But he didn't dare stop at the neck and began to move lower, leaving a trail of hickeys. When he reached the considerable size of her breasts, he began to suck her nipple, and with his other hand he squeezed the other, and then changed their places. From this, Kurama began to sigh and purr with pleasure. Realizing that he was in the right direction, Naruto began to go lower and lower until he reached the desired place. A white liquid came out of the kitsune's pussy, intoxicating Naruto. He did not hesitate and began to lick her crotch. Having licked everything, he entered her with his tongue. From the overwhelming feelings, Kurama began to arch until Naruto felt the hot liquid. Having swallowed it, he embraced the girl, but she pushed him away and laid him on the sleeping bag. Now it's your turn to have fun, Naru, she said. And now she began to leave hickeys on his body, starting from his neck and ending on his stomach. Having reached his already excited agret, she began to suck it. Naruto could not hold out for long under the pressure of the fox, and the long-awaited seed poured into her throat. Well, shall we move on to the next level? She asked and turned her back to Naruto, opening her pussy. You asked for it yourself. Naruto did not hesitate and entered her with his cock in full length. At first he started with a slow pace, but then he began to speed up. And Kurama didn't lag behind him and moved in time. Naruto turned her over on her back and pulled her into a kiss, squeezing her breast with one hand, and holding the girl by the waist with the other. When they were at the peak of their powers, Naruto increased his pace, Kurama couldn't stand it and came first, and then Naruto. Kurama lay down on Naruto, who fell on his back, covering them with a blanket and a pair of tails. They admired themselves for a long time until they fell asleep. End of the section. Commentary on Part 7. And I won't spoil it this time. Hello everyone. I have a question for you. Do you want Naruto to take revenge on Konoha or forgive them? I'll be gone for 3 days preparing for the Russian exam, so you'll have just enough time to choose Naruto's path. Mini part and monologue. After Naruto's death, many things changed in Konoha. Kakashi began to blame himself for his student's death. Tsunade kept up with him and was on a drinking binge, and Jiraiya went on a long-term mission feeling guilty. Sasuke was punished, and the others stopped trusting him, and Hinata despised him altogether. The others took his death easier, but they still missed the always cheerful blonde. Danzo. Everyone knows this old coot. His plans to reseal the Jinchuriki failed. Akatsuki was not happy with this outcome. They will have to wait several years to seal the nascent Kyuubi. Only the Kage of other villages rejoiced at the weakening of Konoha. During Naruto's 3-year journey, Sasuke will have to regain his trust, Danzo will have to do his dirty deeds, and Akatsuki will have to prepare to catch the Bijou and come up with something with the nine-tailed one. This is where the mini-part ends, and then comes the monologue. Thanks guys for your support. I already have a couple of drafts for the next parts, and when I find out your opinion after the exam I will continue writing. And also, I wonder, were you forced to do projects in the 9th grade, because only our school thought of this? I couldn't find a place for this fragment from the timeline, mini part, so I decided to release everything in this format. End. Part 8. New Bijou. After a hot night, Naruto woke up first. He was touched by Kurama's peaceful face. She had never been so happy and calm before. Naruto kissed her black fox nose, which made her nose twitch. In response, warm air rushed out of Naruto and the fox opened her scarlet eyes with animal pupils. Good morning, Ku, the blonde said tenderly. The same to you, Naru. Kurama answered no less tenderly. It's time for us to go, the guy said with pity in his voice, stroking his red happiness. I think I'll put you on me and run at my maximum speed, said the girl, getting up. Oh, come on. Naruto said sadly, which made Kurama involuntarily giggle. Well, are you ready? Asked a couple of minutes later a huge fox, the size of the Hokage mountain, if not bigger. Probably, the blonde said, holding tightly to her fur, as she ran at great speed to Suna. 4 hours later they were already there. In the middle of numerous sand dunes stood a split mountain. Entering one of the caves, Naruto set up all sorts of barriers and seals, and Kurama drew a pentagram on the floor with all sorts of circles, hieroglyphs, etc. Listen carefully. Now you will sit in a circle, and I will draw the remaining part of the pentagram on you. Then you will drink my blood and refusal is not accepted. I will make a couple of seals and will pour my chakra into you. The fox said in all seriousness. Naruto did not argue and did everything said above. Kurama poured a huge amount of chakra into Naruto all day. Thanks to this and the blood drunk by the blonde, the process ended in the evening. Naruto slept like a baby, because the whole process was accompanied by a huge burning pain. And everything seemed to be fine, but then in the end the barriers to hide the chakra flew off. The next day, Naruto woke up in a good mood. Oh, are you awake? How are you feeling? Asked the kitsune who was preparing the food. Just great, he said and sat down to breakfast. You cook very well, the guy said at the end of the meal. You haven't changed much, only your pupil has become animal-like. It looks like the process is still ongoing, said the fox, studying the blonde. Although, we'll have to try something when we find some settlement. Coming out of the cave, they headed towards the border, when out of nowhere a technique flew at Naruto, but Kurama blocked it. Looking where the technique came from, they saw Tensuna Anbu, who had passed by at night and felt a large release of chakra. Kurama had a terrible wound on his back, because she was in human form and her skin could not provide anything against the joint technique of Ten Shinobi. Naruto caught the falling girl, hatred began to fill him. A huge ominous ki was felt throughout the area. Naruto's eyes became golden with a fox pupil and black scara, fangs and claws grew, the lines on his cheeks became clearer. Kurama, seeing the changes in Naruto, did not know how to react. The blonde kissed her on the forehead and carefully laid her on the sand. He looked menacingly at the Anbu, a technique similar to a Biju bomb began to appear on his hand, but the only difference was that Naruto's technique consisted only of chaos. Kurama wanted to stop him, because he could die if he couldn't hold his chakra, but she stopped after seeing how perfectly he controlled it. The Anbu didn't have time to blink before one had an axe sticking out of his head, and the second was turned into mincemeat by Naruto, who had appeared. They were taken aback by this, and Naruto killed the third in vain, because the remaining Anbu managed to chop off his hand for this. Naruto absorbed the souls of the dead people and his arm grew back, but 3 Anbu was not enough for him. He wants blood, the blood of those who encroached on the life of his fox. The blonde appeared behind one of the Anbu and bit off a piece of meat from it, and immediately jumped back from the attacks of the rest of the enemies. There were 10 such attacks and they were quite effective. Almost all the remaining Anbu were bitten and cut, 3 were killed. Unfortunately for them, Naruto changed, he got golden ears and 9 tails. Having realized that the more he ate, the faster the transformation process went, Naruto began to eat corpses that were not yet cold. Once in the stomach, they immediately dissolved in it, because Naruto, using chakra, accelerated the metabolism. And now the attackers were faced with a golden 9-tailed fox the size of an elephant. Of course, they had no chance against it, they were all eaten by it. A 3-meter fox, Kurama, was watching all this. Uzumaki, in the form of a fox, approached her and hugged her. "Naru, is that you?" The fox asked with apprehension. She was afraid that he was consumed by hatred and would destroy everything and everyone. "Yes, it's me." "Kurama, are you afraid of me?" Naruto asked. "No, I was afraid that you lost control of yourself," she replied, returning to her human form, and Naruto followed her. "Oh, how beautiful you are." Ears, tails, Kurama began to examine and squeeze him. "That's it, it's decided, we'll go and feed you a couple of villages." "Are you sure?" "Of course." She squeezed him tighter. "Oh, you'll strangle me." A year has passed since that day, a lot has changed, for example, Naruto. Mostly he changed in appearance. He had tanned skin, the same blonde hair as before. He wore black pants with the same color shinobi sandals, 2 axes with short handles hung on his belt. He had a fox skin on him, which protected him from high temperatures and from many other things. He wore it like a cloak, his head was covered by a fox head, it looked like a fox ate a man. Well, I can't describe it properly. Eating villages, he reached the size of his girlfriend, while everyone was wondering how these villages could have disappeared. When moving, Kurama would shrink to a small 9-tailed fox and would be in Naruto's inner pocket, which would give the enemy a surprise. "So what? You're going to attack the guy, and a giant-sized mother fox would come out of his pocket. Well, you already know the outcome." And she would walk around the city in human form. She would wear either a yukata or simple clothes, or she could be in shinobi clothes. You might ask, where does she get her clothes? And I'll answer, she just goes into a store at night, takes everything she needs and runs away, sealing it in the seal Naruto had put on her body. During this year, they learned about Akatsuki and their plans, so Naruto and Kurama puzzled over this problem for a long time. Now they were running to save Kyubi's brother, but as soon as they arrived, Shikaku was sealed in a statue, which immediately disappeared. Deciding that since they were late, they had to kill the 2 Akatsuki before they escaped. Meanwhile, Team 7 and 8, I think that's how it was in canon, approached the shelter, Kakashi, Sasuke, Sakura, Sai, Guy, Lee, Neji, Tenten, and Grandma Chie to boot. Before they could reach the entrance to the cave, Deidara flew out without one arm. Polundra, whistle everyone on high, he shouted and flew away from Sin. BTCH, Deidara is a scam, damn you. Sasori was now shouting. Looking into the cave, they saw a pile of broken puppets, and in the middle of all this stood Sasori and some man in a fox skin. In the man's hand appeared a black matter, emitting black and red lightning of energy. A second, and Sasori was no longer alive, turned into splinters. As it turned out, Naruto immediately started blowing everything up, which freaked out Deidara. And since they sealed the bijou, the demolitionist, Deidara, decided to retreat from here. Who are you? Kakashi asked. End of the section. Commentary on Part 8. New bijou. Hello everyone. I managed to finish writing a part for you. I am interested in your suggestions, so write them, and in the next part we will find out who guessed. Part 9. Back to Konoha. Who are you? Kakashi asked. I am Kira, a ghoul, a fox, a millionaire, a playboy, a combat philanthropist, or simply Zubenko Mikhail Petrovich, a mafioso. Naruto answered, who was simply mocking him. Kurama was simply dying of laughter, because there was something to laugh about. Kakashi began to have a nervous tic, and his face showed universal indignation, dumbfoundedness, and shock. Maybe you can tell me your name? The ash-haired man asked irritably. Horseradish, not a name, said the blonde and took Gaara by the scruff of the neck. And here is horseradish red, grows in deserts, tastes like sand, that's why it's bitter. Here is yours, and he threw the former Jinchuriki at Kakashi. If it weren't for the seals and barriers, the laughter of the nine-tailed fox would have been heard throughout the land of fire. Well, it looks like all the fun is over, so I'm going. It's boring with you. Kira, the ghoul, the fox, and so on began to leave, like. Wait. Neji shouted. What do you want? You look like Naruto. I saw it with my Byakugan. He said. Damn Hugo, Naruto said angrily, the former joy was gone. How could I forget about this? Take off your hood, Kakashi demanded. Naruto, I think it's time, Kurama said mentally, sitting in the form of a small fox in the inner pocket of the skin. It's time to carry out Plan K, if it fails, then we'll move on to Plan Y. Okay, Naruto answered both at once and took off his hood. His old comrades didn't recognize him at first, but after a few seconds they recognized him as Naruto. And the female part noticed that he had become very handsome, but they were scared by his eyes. Naruto, why didn't you return to the village? Sakura spoke up. To this hell? No way. He shouted angrily. He was no longer the same boy. You want me to go back to where I was always betrayed? It's good that the bookmarks fell off me, otherwise I would have remained a dunce and a blind man. He continued, and the Konoha people were shocked. Naruto, be gentle with them, we need allies against Akatsuki. Kurama said. Naruto, let's go to Konoha, Kakashi suggested. I wanted to visit home anyway, I need help against Akatsuki. After defeating them, we will go our separate ways. Naruto said and went to the exit. And Gaara? Sasuke asked. He's dead. I can revive him, Chie said. In a couple of hours. The Kazekage was brought to Suna and now Naruto and the Konoha people were heading to Konoha. But here's the problem, it's already getting dark and they'll have to stop for the night. Luckily for them, Naruto knew the whole area like the back of his hand, and they came to a village by the river. The next morning, Team 7 and 8 and started looking for Naruto. Although there is a chance that he simply ran away from them. But when they approached the river, they saw him with some girl. They hid their chakra and hid wherever they could, eavesdropping on them. And they didn't notice them at all, concentrating on the conversation. Forgive me, they sealed your brother. Naruto said. I'm not angry with you, but I'm afraid of what will happen if Jubi wakes up, the girl said worriedly. I don't know, but I won't let anyone hurt you, Uzumaki reassured her. And as usual, you'll get into trouble somewhere. Kurama quipped. I won't get into anything, the blonde tried to evade the accusation. Yes, I've been with you your whole life and I know you're not to get into trouble, she said sarcastically and jumping on Naruto, knocking him down. Although, if it weren't for your adventures on your ass, we would hardly have met. Ah, you are a sly fox, the guy said playfully and began to tickle Kurama. No need a ha ha ha. Naru a ha ha ha. I'm ticklish a ha ha ha, she said. But Naruto was already hanging over her, which was his mistake, because Kurama sent him into the river with his legs. When he swam out of it, he was all wet, and Kurama laughed as usual. Well, what? Did you get it? In response, she received a big wave in her address. Ahem, ahem. Kakashi, who came out of his hiding place, attracted the attention of the already wet couple. Please excuse me, but Naruto, we have to go. Were you following me? Naruto asked angrily. We were looking for you and found you here, Sasuke replied, now emerging from his hiding place. The others did the same. Naruto, who is this girl and who is this brother? Asked Sakura. This doesn't concern you. And you're asking for a fight. Uzumaki said furiously. Everyone, we'll wait for you by the road, Kakashi said and went away with the others. A couple of minutes later, Naruto came up to them and they silently set off. Halfway from the entire road, Sakura couldn't stand it and asked. Naruto, who was that girl with you? Naruto wanted to shut her up, but Kurama stopped him. I think you can tell them about me. Are you sure? Completely. Let them know that they are not so safe. Then don't let them see you, or they'll faint. Her name is Kyubi no Yoku, he answered Sakura. Bad joke Naruto, Kakashi commented. What makes you think I'm joking? Naruto answered with a grin. This made everyone shudder. Do you want me to introduce her to you? Better keep it sealed, Kakashi said, seeing the flashbacks. Oh, I didn't tell you. What? Everyone asked in chorus. The seal is gone, he pointed to his torso. But how? You were supposed to die from this. Kakashi asked with fear. And this is already my little secret. Naruto smiled creepily. I see. It was she who turned your head. The ash-haired man concluded. Stupid, very stupid. I think I won't continue any further, otherwise my ears will fold into tubes. You won't understand anyway. Naruto said with barely noticeable disgust. I always say this about how my ears fold into tubes when I don't want to listen to some nonsense. Yes, I'll put her under Genjutsu. Sasuke said arrogantly. Uchiha-cha. Kurama hissed like a snake. KKQB, everyone said with great trembling. Q, I asked you to. Naruto said sadly. Now you see, they're going to shit themselves. Sorry, but you know my dislike for the Uchihas, especially this one. Let's kill him, and then the other two, and the world's evil will disappear. Kurama said at the end. So, stop scaring them, or they'll die of a heart attack. And you, Sasuke, if you try to subjugate her, I promise you a personal hell. Naruto still didn't forgive him. Well, Naru, she tried to say, like. Now quickly in the pocket. Naruto said and shoved the fox back into his pocket so that only the muzzle and ears were sticking out. Now the Konoha people don't even know what's going on here. Their idea of a terrible and evil Kyuubi didn't fit with a Kyuubi that was friends with a human or even loved. What happened to you, Naruto? Kakashi thought. After all, if you think about it, the Bijou doesn't behave aggressively when it's near the blonde. It was an interesting proposal and it needs to be tested somehow. End of the section. Commentary on Part 9. Back to Konoha. Hello everyone, I'm back. I'll just say one thing. The preparations I made before the exam were for 4 to 5 parts, but in the end there were 3. Everything is going as usual, all over the place. Well, I'm saying goodbye to you, thanks for reading. Part 10. Conversation with the Hokage. After 3 long years, Naruto returned to his home village. Hello Izumo, Kotetsu, said teams number 7 and 8. Hello, who is this with you? Asked Kotetsu. This is Naruto, Kakashi said after a slight hesitation. Well, hello, Naruto said with a grin, which scared the guards. General Kenobi, and Naruto? You've been gone for a long time. Why did you come? Izumo was already speaking. I'm going to the Hokage, said the blonde, who had ignored Izumo's question and walked towards the residence. Konoha hadn't changed much, the same houses, stalls, Tsunade's face appeared on the mountain, ordinary people were doing their job, shinobi were jumping on the roofs every now and then. And here was the residence. A couple of minutes later they entered the office and the teams reported on the mission to save the Kazekage. Naruto, is that you? Said Tsunade, who found out about him after the team's story. She came out from behind her desk and hugged him. You can't even imagine how much Jiraiya and I cried after your death. Naruto had mixed feelings about everything. The village had done a lot of bad things, but there was at least some good in it. Kurama didn't dare interfere in his relationship with the house and simply watched everything from her pocket. Granny Tsunade, why didn't you and Jiraiya help me when I was a child? You are my godparents, asked the blonde. They wouldn't let us into the village, and they certainly wouldn't let us adopt you. Forgive us. I forgive you, Naruto said with a smile. He was glad to hear that his only relatives hadn't abandoned him, but simply couldn't get close to him. Okay, we'll help you with Akatsuki, but your old friends will want to talk to you. So we'll help you if you answer our questions. Tsunade retreated. Okay, but not today, but tomorrow you will ask questions, and I will explain the plan to you. Bye, the blonde left and went to the hotel. Naruto was now walking to one of the old training grounds, training ground number 7. He woke up with Kurama reluctantly, because he was too lazy to meet old acquaintances, but nothing could be done. He walked along empty roads, so a 9-tailed fox, waist-high Jinchuriki, walked calmly next to him. Coming to the training ground, he saw all his old friends from the graduation and others. Seeing the fox, they began to get a little nervous, but calmed down when the blonde sat down opposite them and laid the fox on his lap. I take it you won't leave me alone so easily? Uzumaki asked, stroking Kurama. The shinobi nodded in response. Naruto, how did you survive? I saw that you wouldn't live long. Hatake started asking questions. Unlike you, I was saved by Kyubi, he replied. I'm sorry, Kakashi wanted to apologize. You could have given me first aid, moron. You were ANBU, which means you know basic medical techniques. The blonde interrupted him. Why didn't you come back? Hinata asked. Konoha is almost entirely made up of rotten people who hate me. That's why I didn't go back to where I felt bad. Uzumaki said, petting Kurama, who was purring loudly. And the others were shocked by Kyubi's behavior. The blonde was already starting to pray that these questions would end. But the questioning continued for about another hour, until Naruto exploded. That's enough, let's move on to the plan. What are we dealing with? Tsunade asked. The most dangerous of all are Pain and Tobi, or even Madara. Pain has a Rinnegan. Tobi has a Manjikyu Sharingan. After Haiden and Kakuzu, they are immortal, but they must have weaknesses. Kisame is a tailless Bijou. If you take away his Samahata, he is not so dangerous. Zetsu is a mysterious guy, I know nothing about him. Deidara is a terrorist, weak against lightning. It has been proven in practice. Itachi has a Manjikyu, abilities you have long known. This is what I managed to find out. And where did you get such information? Asked the slime princess, knowing that it was not so easy to get any information about Akatsuki. I'll skip these details. Let's continue. Most likely they caught not only the one-tailed but also the two-tailed. I know where the three-tailed is. If we manage to save it, then Akatsuki's plan will collapse. Then I'll give you everyone here for this mission. Tsunade said, knowing that Akatsuki isn't that weak. Great, we'll set out tomorrow, Naruto said. End of the section. Part 11. The story of how Naruto tried to save the three-tailed. A team to protect the three tails from Akatsuki has gathered at the village gates. So, is everyone here? Asked Naruto. Yes, that's it. The journey promises to be long. Kakashi answered the question. What makes you think we'll go on foot? Hyubi will carry us. The blonde smiled and a small fox crawled out of his pocket. It walked a sufficient distance from the village and increased in size. Now Kurama was larger than the Hokage mountain. Naruto approached the huge black nose and stroked it. In response, a warm breeze rushed towards him, which was even felt in the village. After much debate about the safety of this transport, or else it will eat you up and not even notice, as Kakashi said, our so-called squad set off with the wind to the target. Kurama would have run at full speed, but then the passengers would have simply flown away God knows where. And Naruto did not dare to do such a stupid thing as turn into a nine-tailed fox, because it would be better to keep it a secret and no one would know his trump card. On this trip, Kakashi finally became convinced that if they had a blonde guy with them, who did not let the fox destroy everything and everyone, then they had nothing to fear, probably. They arrived at the place in the evening, but were in no hurry, because the lake where the three-tailed one lives is stormy as hell. So they arranged a place to spend the night. And everything seemed to be going well, but here's the problem, our heroes don't know what kind of fox awaits them. In the morning they went to the lake. When they reached the shore, they saw a quiet, calm lake covered with fog. But there was no time to enjoy and Kurama began to emit large streams of chakra to attract the attention of the three-tailed, who was sitting and sleeping at the bottom of the lake. Feeling the chakra of the older sister, he floated to the surface and dispelled all the fog with his tails. And in front of the squad appeared in all his glory the three-tailed Biju, Isabu. He already knew the whole plan, because the Biju has a special communication channel. Therefore, a meeting of all Biju was taking place there. Alas, only Isabu and Kurama came there. Naruto did not hear about it at all. Shikaku and Matatabi are sealed, and the rest are either sleeping or busy saving their asses, and the Jinchurikis asked from the same Akatsuki. Well, Isabu, let's go. Naruto said and wanted to approach him, when he felt the earth cracking, and how it cracked. Just a little more and the cracks would appear. And a voice was heard, like a bolt from the blue. Art is an explosion. Here come two Akatsuki. As you understood, this is Deidara, and the second is Tobi. And in addition, Orochimaru came to the celebration with his wards, who did not refuse to receive the Biju into his own hands. And it began, explosions were happening all over the area, huge crystals were appearing everywhere. Dai and Lee were running around like crazy, breaking everyone's faces left and right. Technicians were flying here and there. And only Naruto, holding Kurama and Isabu in his hands, looked at this chaos and anarchy. He was about to leave, but Tobi blocked his way. Ayaye, do you want to leave the party already? The mask wearer asked mockingly. The blonde understood that he knew almost nothing about his abilities, the most he knew was Manjikyu. Hiding his tailed friends in his pockets, knowing about the ability of subordination, Naruto attacked Tobi with a cold weapon, but stopped, seeing the futility of his actions. So, we're incompetent for some time, thanks to the Manjikyu, Naruto concluded. Thanks to the sensor's abilities and observations, he realized that the situation was not in his favor. Even if he fired techniques at the level of destruction of the Biju, the enemy would remain intact when you yourself spent a lot of chakra. And the rest will not come to the rescue anytime soon, if at all. The Sharingan was pressing hard on the blonde, appearing here and there, becoming invincible, which ultimately led to the blonde's defeat. Tobi wanted to use Kamui to make a hole in Naruto, he barely dodged, but it was a trick. The hidden clone came out of hiding and, taking Isabu by the tails, he snatched him from his pocket. Looking into his Manjikyu's eye, he subdued him, the three-tailed one. Now the three-tailed Biju is on Akatsuki's side. Realizing that they now had no reason to save Isabu, Naruto ran after the Konoha people, because the three-tailed began to create a tailed bomb. Yes, you can try to remove the control, but when your enemy is not slowing down and does not stand still, and a giant is trying to kill you, you can do almost nothing alone, even with the nine-tailed. And if they subdue her, then it's all over. Get down! The blonde shouted, feeling the heat behind his back. Hearing him, everyone looked in the direction he was running from. And seeing a huge Biju about to throw a village-sized bomb at them, they scattered in all directions. Explosion. We're F-King Yarrick. It's all bullshit, we're fucked. Naruto ran, taking his comrades with him as clones. And the blonde didn't miss out, because now Deidara's bombs and hundreds of small Biju bombs, which were only the size of a person, were flying at them. Oric didn't lag behind either, feeling that things were starting to smell hot, gathered his remaining subordinates and ran away. Kurama tried to get out of the pocket all the time, but Naruto did not let her do this. As a result, with the help of the sleep seal, the fox was sent to the world of Morpheus. Let's continue with the escape. The shelling continued until everyone disappeared over the horizon. Toby used Kamui to send the three-tailed to his dimension and flew with Deidara to the shelter for sealing. The Konoha squad with Naruto settled in the village and healed their wounds. But for Naruto in the evening there will be no easy task, to talk to Kurama about today's failure. When Kurama woke up, she saw that she was in the room with Naruto. Turning into a girl, she said crying, Why did you stop me, Naruto?" A girl with red hair and fox attributes attacked him. "If I hadn't stopped you, he would have subdued you too," the blonde tried to calm her down. "Listen to me, you should have at least tried to save your brother Isabu. But you, fool, ran away right away." She already wanted to hit him. "Listen to me. I had to fight against your brother from Akatsuki alone. And you wouldn't have helped at all. I would have lost you sooner. Forgive me for not trying to understand how hard it was for you. Forgive me for not being able to save your brothers. I am weak." Naruto switched from shouting to whispering. "You are not weak, but such a fool. Forgive me, I am also wrong." Kurama spoke and, hugging the blonde, began to sob into his shoulder. After all, sealed in the statue of Gedamezo, the Biju are as if in a torture chamber. There they feel terrible, unbearable pain. Kurama should help them as an older sister, but she can't do anything against Akatsuki, even with her beloved person, or Biju, who is even stronger than her in some aspects. Hugging her back, Naruto stroked her silky, fiery red hair, the same color tails, scratched behind her ears, thereby calming the girl. Meanwhile, the rest of the squad were in the next room. Hearing the swearing behind the wall, they became curious about what was going on there. Having made holes in the walls, which seemed to be made of cardboard, and camouflaged themselves, they saw and heard the entire conversation of the couple, and continued to do so brazenly. "Why can't they leave us, the Biju, alone? We didn't do anything to people, of course we ate them, but that was very rare. We just slept and didn't bother anyone. Everything was fine until that damn Uchiha Madara came and ruined our lives. By subjugating me, he showed people that we can be used as weapons. And then hundreds of years of imprisonment. Even Matatabi's sister wasn't left alone, and she was always against violence. But I'm glad that I met you, the one who understood our suffering and loved me for who I am." Kyubi whined. And the uncultured people who were spying on them were shocked to hear this. "Don't cry, Kurama. I will definitely do everything in my power to make sure you are accepted," said the blonde, wiping the tears from the girl's face. "But, Naru, understand, there are so many vile people in the world, especially in Konoha. There, Danzo and his root make you puke from their actions, morals, and goals. They think that people are weapons. So what do they care about our opinions? I'll think of something about this, and you sleep for now." Naruto laid Kurama on the bed. He wanted to leave the room, when the girl grabbed him and pressed herself against him. "Only with you," she said and fell asleep. The blonde, who did not refuse sleep after a hard day, also fell into the kingdom of Morpheus. End of the section. Part 12. Operation Y ============================================================================================================================All the while on the way Naruto was thinking about what to do next. In the end he decided that since they had lost the three-tailed, he no longer needed the village's help. The location of the remaining Jinchuriki was unknown. And now the danger of Akatsuki grows into a global one, which means the villages will unite to destroy them. And in the meantime, when his comrades are in the hospital, he will carry out Operation Y, i.e. kill the elders, Danzo with Root and some of the people who harmed him the most, and then escape. They came to the village in the evening. Tsunade, having learned about the condition of her subordinates, immediately sent them to the hospital. Having waited until night, Naruto created a dozen clones, who ran away in all directions. Naruto could have slaughtered all of Konoha, but he still needed it against Akatsuki, so the clones would deal with the elders who had ruined his life, ordinary residents, and people who had mocked him the most. And he, the original, would go after Danzo. Having reached the root base, having found a secret door, he kicked it down with such force that it was smashed into the wall. All the ANBU soldiers present froze in place. No one expected that someone would kick into their shelter. Naruto looked at them with eyes full of bloodlust, and taking out his axes, he began to chop everyone left and right. Cutting his way to Danzo, Naruto filled the corridors with corpses, severed limbs, all sorts of organs and blood. Meanwhile, his clones did their job and dispersed. And now the last Root was killed, only Danzo remained. A newly created clone entered his office. But he was immobilized by a trap. "Well, Jinchuriki of the Nine-Tailed? Now you are mine." The old man wanted to touch the blonde, but he disappeared in the haze. Danzo realized that he had been deceived. Naruto flew into the office and chopped off his head with an axe. The lifeless body of the elder fell. And it seemed like a victory, but in front of Naruto stood a whole and unharmed Danzo. His eyes did not miss the moment when one of the Sharingans on his hand closed. An explosion, and the fight continued in the open air. Danzo, covering the throwing weapons with futon, wind element, thereby sharpening them, launched them at Naruto. He was not confused by the unexpected return of the dead man, and with the help of Katon, fire element, strengthened by futon, he sent the iron, i.e. the throwing weapons, back to its owner in a strengthened state. As a result of these actions, a fire started in the forest where the base was located. Naruto took advantage of this and did not allow the advisor to leave the epicenter. After 10 minutes he was suffocated and burned alive. But he appeared again, and it felt like nothing had happened before. The blonde was finally convinced of his assumption, which he shared with Kurama, as he said, "One life is equal to one Sharingan. Naruto, I have a solution to this problem. Put a seal that suppresses chakra, even though it will be fragile, but you will have enough time to destroy several Sharingans." Kyubi told her plan. "Thanks for the idea, but don't come out of hiding. I'm sure that old geezer has something hidden." Naruto thanked her. Having caught the right moment, he put a seal and barely managed to cut off 3 Sharingans tangentially. There were still 2 left. You ask why he didn't just cut off his hand. Well, because Danzo was very evasive, only Oric was better than him. Having regained control over the chakra, the elder summoned an animal similar to an elephant, whose name was Baku. The summoning immediately began to suck everything in with its trunk. Having created a Biju bomb, Naruto sent it into the animal. After a couple of seconds, and only scraps of meat remained from the summoning. Danzo was in shock, so he did not notice how the clone approached, who put the seal and cut off the remaining eyes. The advisor decided to blow himself up with the blonde. But he, seeing what the old man was doing, immediately began to run in the opposite direction. Explosion, and Danzo is no more. Team number 7 was sent home in the evening, because they were not as badly injured as the others, so they were released early, when the others were discharged the next day. Sai sensed strange activity in the part of the village. After thinking for a while, the team went to that part. Coming close, Sai suddenly said, "Danzo is no more." "What makes you think that?" asked Kakashi. "There is no more seal, we are in the area of the root. Do you understand what I mean?" And now the culprit of this celebration landed in front of him. "Naruto, did you do this?" Kakashi asked, even though he saw a shabby blonde in front of him. "No." "What makes you think that?" The blonde joked about them and at the same time thought about how to get out of here. "It was you. You can tell by your appearance. And we all heard that evening, especially about how you would deal with Danzo." Sakura screamed. She didn't understand how he could now just kill people, when before everything was the other way around. The rest of the team's eyes started to pop out of their sockets from what was said, even Sai's. Sakura was still the same stupid girl she had always been. 2 pairs of predatory eyes, glowing in the dark, looked at the team. They radiated complete hatred. "You've been meddling in my life for a while now," the blonde said, creating a biju bomb. Realizing that they were about to get a full fox, the Konoha members ran to the village. Naruto sent a very weak bomb their way, he still needed them. Turning around, he ran wherever his eyes looked. End of the section. Commentary on Part 12. Operation Y. Hello people. I want to tell you that I will go on vacation for a couple of days and will continue writing on the weekend. Otherwise, I have been writing every day for almost the entire month. Thank you for understanding. Part 13. Hunting before the meeting. A couple of weeks have passed since that day. Tsunade still hasn't fully understood why Naruto killed dozens of people. The elders are different, they've been trying to kill them for a century now. But the rest? Meanwhile, Naruto ran around God knows how many square kilometers, but he couldn't find anyone from Akatsuki. It's like they come, punch the Jinchuriki in the face and run off with him to nowhere. But it seems the gods took pity on him, because 3 of the Akatsuki went to the fire temple to get some of the Ninetales chakra from the Pseudo Jinchuriki. Why 3? Well, Deidara joined Kakuzu and Haiden for the fun. Naruto approached the fire temple just in time. Instead of a temple there were ruins, corpses, and organs were lying everywhere, and in the middle of this mess there were 3 morons, 3 cheerful friends. Jokes aside, there were 3 Akatsuki, and on the shoulder of one, Haiden, lay a grief-stricken Jinchuriki. 3 against 1 isn't exactly fair, but there is another way out: kill the Jinchuriki. That way he won't fall into enemy hands and there will be less trouble. Naruto didn't feel sorry to kill him, he doesn't know anything about him, he doesn't know him and his conscience doesn't stop him from committing a sin. The blonde took a kunai out of his pouch and threw the kunai at supersonic speed. A second and the Pseudo Jinchuriki's head shattered into atoms. Who did this? Come out, bitch, I'll bury you, you fucking bastard. Haiden shouted to the whole world. I doubt I can parody Haiden's speech. Hey, be quiet, Naruto said, sprawled on his side. Who else are you? Asked Kakuzu. Grandpa Furtree, the blonde answered him and tore the head off Deidara's shoulders. I'll serve you up to you, bitch Jashnu, on a platter right now. Haiden swung his scythe. Is that your back scratcher? Blondie? Naruto asked jokingly. Oh, this is the sacrificial scythe with which I will sacrifice you. Haiden shouted like a madman, or rather, he is mad. Naruto, Kurama said quietly. What? Naruto asked. I've met guys like that before. This blonde guy needs to be split into atoms, otherwise he won't be killed. And most importantly, don't get caught in his attacks. The second one has 5 hearts, destroy them and he'll die. The fox said from her pocket. Thank you, the blonde stroked her and concentrated on the enemy. Kakuzu, don't bother me, said the blonde man and went on the attack on Uzumaki. I didn't want to, Kakuzu responded and stepped aside. Haiden ran at Naruto, swinging his scythe in all directions. Dodging the attacks, Naruto thought about the strength of his opponent. But so what if he's immortal? The attacks are banal, he doesn't even know banal techniques. Put him with a couple of experienced jonin, he'll lose. Well, if he needs to be split into atoms, then it needs to be done beautifully. After another direct attack, the blonde jumped onto the beam and stopped. Well, have you given up? Asked Haiden. I don't want to repeat your comrade, so. Allahabar. Naruto shouted, his hand began to be covered with clots of blue energy, which took the shape of fox heads. Once formed, they flew at the blonde cultist with great speed and exploded. Is that all? The immortal asked again, emerging from the smoke that had appeared from the explosion. He was slightly fried and injured in some places. But in response, he only received more of these missiles. When one batch ends, another comes. And so on for half an hour until Haiden was destroyed. Yes, I know. I dumped 2 Akatsuki members, but Deidara is not the strongest compared to Sasori, even though he was killed first, but Deidara dumped him when things got tough, and Haiden, as you remember in canon, was buried by Shikamaru's trap. Kakuzu already tried to run away from Sin, but Naruto stopped him. Where are you going? He asked. Kakuzu did not answer, but simply released all his hearts, which began to destroy the entire area with their techniques. But Naruto managed to hide from the attacks. Kurama, you didn't say that his hearts can walk on their own and fire techniques from right to left. How would I know? I only heard about him a couple of 100 years ago. The fox was offended. Oh, come on, I'm sorry, the blonde apologized. Naruto emerged from his hiding place, creating several clones, and began to attack Kakuzu from all sides. He did not lose his head and immediately blocked all attacks and attacked in response with a combined technique of 3 hearts. What? He can also combine techniques? Naruto was surprised. Realizing that he could even lose in elemental techniques, the blonde decided to use physical force. And what? He has all 5 elements that can be used independently of each other, while Naruto only has 3 and those are dependent. Having created 100 clones, he imbued kunai with his chakra and threw them at Kakuzu's hearts. They created defensive techniques, but they did not protect them and 1 heart was destroyed. When the smoke cleared, the duelist's eyes were shown hearts transformed into a sieve. Here Kakuzu was now stunned by the blonde's strength, because only Tsunade Senju, who had a light hand, could make such holes. But his prostration was destroyed by the destruction of 3 hearts. Naruto turned in his direction, and he was gone without a trace. Stop. Stop, I say. Give me the lard. The blonde shouted. Go to hell. You've already destroyed 4 of my hearts. Get the fuck away from me. Kakuzu shouted back until Naruto's hand pierced him. It's good that they underestimated me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have managed it so easily on my own. You have me, Kurama reminded him of herself. You should show yourself less anyway. Okay, I heard there's going to be a Kage meeting. P.S. Hello everyone, forgive me for such a low-quality part. To be honest, I'm not very good at combat, so. If you look at the previous fanfics, I didn't write about the 4th Shinobi World War there. And I feel like I'll be sitting on the war parts for a long time. But I will tell you right away that I will try to write in the style of the previous part with the 3-tailed one. End of the section. Commentary on part 13. Hunting before the meeting. Hello again everyone. Guys, I congratulate you on the upcoming holiday. February 23rd. Part 14. On the way to the meeting. A cart was going along a snowy road to one of the cities of the Iron Country, on which our heroes settled down, having paid the driver. It's cold, will we arrive soon? Said Kurama. It's still about an hour's drive, Naruto answered her. At this rate, we'll definitely freeze here. Kurama didn't like snow and cold, but she didn't like rain and damp weather more than snow. Why do you need the cold? You are a demon of fire. Very funny. And who told me that I am always in this country in human form? Supposedly, the inhabitants with the samurai will be scared to death of a little 9-tailed fox. Okay. What do you want from me? Naruto gave in. So that you warm me, Kurama hugged him. Cold, said the blonde, hugging the girl back. By evening they found themselves in the city. Having bought a room in a hotel, the two were finally able to rest peacefully. Kurama, Naruto said while sipping tea. What? Asked Kyubi, who was lying on the bed. We'll have to stay here for a few days. Why? The 9-tailed one exclaimed. Well, due to the large amount of precipitation this week, avalanches began. Because of this, some of the Kage cannot really enter the country. Why did the gods treat me like this? She buried her face in the pillow. Winter reminded her of the not-so-best years of her life. One day, Kurama passed by a city that was located on the territory of the future Iron Country. There she met a strange man. As it turned out later, he was a Nukenin who had escaped from the village. That man, seeing a huge fox, attacked her. He would have been like a midge to her, if not for a special artifact, the sword, with the help of which the 9-tailed was captured. Experiments were conducted on her, research and other terrible things, until she broke free, because the sword could not cope with her strength, and killed the captor, who was Alya. How do you like that, Orochimaru, huh? After those hellish weeks, Kurama became completely disillusioned with people and began to hate them. If the Hokage took Kakashi as his guard, then I'll eat him alive. I won't let him spy anymore. The fox said angrily. Calm down, we'll have to meet Tsunade tomorrow. She's staying here too. Naruto finished his tea. The next day, having dressed warmly, they went to look for the hotel where the Hokage, Tsunade, was supposed to stay. As they walked, the city became more and more covered in snow. Finding the right hotel, he climbed up the wall and entered the room through the balcony. There, Tsunade was sitting on the couch, talking to Shizuna, who was holding Tun-Tun. You were in no hurry, she said. Tsunade learned about Naruto through sensory input, just as Naruto learned about her in this way, passing by this hotel in the middle of the night. It seems like you don't want to kill me, Naruto said calmly. Yes, I'll give you a funeral right now. Okay, I killed the elders. But why kill ordinary civilians? Tsunade ran after him around the room. This continued until Naruto explained everything, thereby calming the kunoichi. So you just want to come to the Kage Council and propose an alliance so that if you win, you can free the Bijou? You still remain a blockhead. Calm down, Granny Tsunade, calm down. I can do it. The blonde assured her. Naruto, said Tsunade. What? I have to tell you something. So what? The blonde asked with interest. Naruto. Jiraiya is dead, pain killed him. Tsunade said crying. Having heard this news, Naruto sat down on the couch, tears began to well up in his eyes. Although the toad-like Pisanin was a pervert, he himself was a good person and a teacher. It's a pity that I couldn't meet him, at least talk to him one more time. End of the section. Commentary on Part 14. On the way to the meeting. Hello everyone. This part should have been much longer and come out earlier, but due to a rather difficult week I couldn't really write. Oh, and tomorrow I have a sleepless night, I'll have to repeat about 40 paragraphs of chemistry. The teacher decided to give me and my class a big test. Part 15. Kage meeting. In the great hall sat all 5 Kage and the head of the samurai, who were sorting out relationships, who was to blame, how many Jinchuriki were left. And Naruto, from above on the beam, along with Kurama, listens and is amazed by them. I thought that the Kage were adequate people, but it seems that this is not the case. Who am I kidding, is this really a Kage? Okay, Tsunade, yes, she's a drunkard, but she's slowly improving, but others are not the issue. This tanned cabinet would rather start a war over trifles than talk calmly with someone. What? Just look at him, who chose him as Kage? They didn't have any other candidates? Let's move on to the next one. Well, it's funny, there's an old coot sitting at the village post. Maybe he was once very strong, but now if you give him a light hit on the back, he'll immediately fly off in a knockout. Now, what's her name? Mizukage for sure. Well, this is just nonsense, they put this pervert in jail, yes, a pervert, you should have seen the way she looks at young and strong guys. Okay, this can be forgiven to the country, there was complete anarchy there during the revolution. Gaara. I just have one question. What kind of idiot decided to put a psychopath, maniac, etc. in the position of Kage? Of course, he may have improved, but his subordinates still hardly trusted him. Now about the meeting place. This is a complete fox, I just easily passed by all the samurai. Are they kidding? They have almost the biggest big shots in the whole world in one place, and they put samurai to protect them, who are easy for the jonins to kill. Naruto, as a child, and to this day, thought that the Kage were very serious and disciplined people. Kurama didn't lag behind him, she saw with her own eyes only the first Hokage and that's all. About the rest, there were only rumors. But Naruto stopped complaining, he still needed to convince all the Kage to unite and achieve freedom for the Bijou. Tsunade would help him with this, introducing him, but it wouldn't happen as soon as he would like. In general, during the time of waiting for the Kage meeting and in general for the entire time since the murder of the elders, 2 very significant events had occurred in the world. The first is Kabuto's murder of Orochimaru. What an unexpected thing. And the hero of the occasion, that is, Kabuto, went to Akatsuki. Second, Sasuke killed Itachi and received the eternal Manjikyu. And now the question arises, has the balance of power fallen or risen on the Akatsuki side? Well, hello 5 Kage, said the false Madara who appeared. Who else are you? Asked the tanned cabinet. I am Madara and I demand that all remaining Biju be handed over. The Jinchuriki of the 8-tailed beast were unable to catch it and it remained in the village instead of shitting here and there. You're not a Biju, that's for sure. Naruto said, hitting the blind spot, thus putting one seal. Then I declare the 4th Shinobi World War. I give you a couple of months to prepare, said the masked man and disappeared into the funnel. I would like to introduce you to Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto, the Jinchuriki of the 9-tailed fox. End of the section. Part 16. War is near. Naruto sat in the shade of a tree, which protected him from the scorching sun. This week had been very difficult, especially on the day of the meeting. When Tsunade introduced him, he almost had to come up with a plan to take over the entire universe. He had to constantly calm Raigage down so that he wouldn't destroy everything and everyone from his demands, and then turn down Mizukage, who wanted to seduce the poor blonde. From this, Kurama emitted such a terrible ki that even all the dead Kage turned over in their graves. On the one hand, the resulting aura put a lot of pressure on the Kage, who were becoming easier and easier to persuade with each passing minute. On the other hand, Naruto had to hold his beloved, otherwise the Eton rulers would hardly help him. He also had to please the fucking dude and avoid questions from the Kazekage like, where were you? Why didn't you come back, etc. He eventually persuaded them, spending a whole day in the process. After the meeting, Naruto ran to look for Tobi and the Akatsuki base, because it was not for nothing that he put a seal on tracking. But fate had other plans. During his escape, Tobi touched a branch, thereby leaving a piece of fabric with a seal on it. Fuck, your mother! He shouted in anger. Oh, there's a hole here, Tobi said playfully, looking at the hole in his cloak. That day, Kurama's fur stood on end from Naruto's anger, something that had never happened before. But the blonde could be understood, because knowing the location of the base, one can learn their tactics in the war, which would ultimately lead to an easy war with fewer losses. But it is not given. And now he was back in Konoha, carrying out the Hokage's orders, either checking the shinobi for readiness for war, or cleaning the archive. In short, boring work awaited the blonde here as punishment. It was better to work than to run away from the shinobi forever. As a child, he dreamed of becoming Hokage, so that everyone would recognize him, but he no longer needs that. And sitting in one place forever and working with papers is not a very promising prospect. On the other hand, if he is a big shot in the world, then the Bijou will need less effort and time to free itself. But Naruto's thoughts and Kurama's sleep were stopped by the one person he wanted to see the least right now. Come on, get up, you still have work to do. The war is near. End of the section. Commentary on Part 16. War is near. Hi all. I congratulate all the girls on the 8th of March. Now let's get down to business. This is the last short part. The rest will be about the war, but I need to know what outcome you want. For example, Naruto will destroy all the villages, or maybe become a Kage or even go traveling. The choice is yours. Appeal. My mother sewed me pants from birch bark. I went to the FIC, but there is nothing there. My mother sewed me pants from birch bark. But Yevgeny, what the hell, where is our leader? Hi all. I want to tell you that I'm alive. The first segment of the war chapter is ready, but there are still many such segments. But I have more or less built the chronology. And there will also be jokes and references. Reading your comments, I agreed with some people, but I will not say what the outcome will be in the end. Otherwise it will not be interesting. By the way, Naruto did not forgive Sasuke. Therefore, after the war, Uchiha will face retribution. And now if you guess what it will be, with an error, of course, Then I will leave your nicknames or nicknames in the author's notes. And that's all, I'm off. Equals 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 part 17. War equals 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 equals. Naruto stood on a hill, from where the place of the future massacre was clearly visible. Next to him were soldiers from one of the village army units. The disposition of the troops was as in the canon. And yet, it would be better for me to enter the war from the very beginning, at least there will be fewer losses. Kurama said in his pocket. Yeah, and so that you crush everyone with your carcass. You will enter the battle when the bijou under control appears on the horizon, if they exist of course. Naruto stated the fact. Do you mean that I'm fat? She said irritably. No, no, you are the most beautiful one. As they say, it's better to anger a fox than to make it worse. Okay. Look, there's someone coming, said the sharpest-eyed of the shinobi. Indeed, an army of white zetsu was heading their way. It looks like they are made up of Hashirama cells and plants. The fox said, feeling a huge amount of chakra lights, similar to the one that the first Hokage had. She will never forget him. Are you saying that they are all just vegetables with a tree genome? Well, that's just a sight to behold. I hope their intelligence remains at the vegetable level. The blonde was delighted. Kurama wanted to answer something, when the entire area was filled with deafening sounds of war. Looks like Papa Carlo overdid it. Well, never mind. We'll cut off the Pinocchio's noses now, Naruto said, seeing the increasing number of zetsu. He took axes in his hands and went to chop everything and everyone, then sending a bijou bomb into another pile of opponents, who, together with pieces of earth, flew apart like bowling pins. Here he sent a fireball into the wind technique of one of the shinobi, aimed at a huge number of vegetables, thereby strengthening it so that all living things from the vegetable class along with the rest of the organics turned to ashes. And so it was on all fronts, as Naruto sent clones to all parts of the army. Kurama. I'm already tired of chopping them, Naruto said breathlessly, chopping up somewhere around the 1,000 zetsu. Well, what can I do to you? You said it yourself, you'll crush everyone with your carcass. Okay, I noticed that they're all crawling out of the ground. So a shinobi with the element of stone needs to smoke the weeds out of the ground. Then we need to move at a tremendous speed to kill everyone in one go. We use chakra unification. Like Kurama's chakra mode, like in canon, but Naruto is no longer a Jinchuriki, so I came up with an alternative. Having informed the shinobi of the plan, they used a technique on command, from which all the zetsu in the ground flew out of it like bullets. Meanwhile, Naruto was covered in golden chakra, and with it, unusual tattoos. A couple of seconds passed and all the vegetables in the air were chopped into small pieces. The blonde was already at the level of the Raikijin speed, and in the chakra unification mode, he overtook Minato. But here's the thing, the mode required enormous concentration for 2 bijou. It's not as simple as giving chakra to a Jinchuriki and telling him to go to hell and fight the enemy. That's why the regime was immediately dispelled. Although the flow of white zetsu did not stop, it became much easier to fight on the fronts. The union of villages began to gain an advantage until the revived shinobi entered the field. Here the initiative was taken by the sealing squads, led by Naruto, of course. Well, who else but him can put banal seals with just the little finger of his left foot, huh? How do you like that, Elon Musk? Let's continue about the war. Of the revived, there were only Jonin-level shinobi, nothing more, until shinobi with different genomes appeared at the front. There were also those who had gained great fame during their lives. And the cherry on the cake were the Kage of all villages, not counting Konoha. While sealing the last swordsman of the mist with his friends from the release, 6 of Pain's bodies appeared before Naruto. It looks like Akatsuki themselves have come here, said the blonde. Today, you will die Uzumaki Naruto, one of the bodies said to him. First, catch up with me, he said and ran, thereby beginning to lead Pain away from the soldiers. So where is he? Pain thought. He was in the dark depths of the forest where Naruto had led him. The blonde himself had decided to destroy one of the bodies, namely the body that could revive other bodies. Thank you, Jiraiya. He thanked his already dead mentor, who had sent a message about Pain's strength, abilities, and bodies. Having found that body, Naruto created many clones, which began to distract the attention of all the bodies, while he slowly approached the target. Having reached it, he created a Rasengan, shoving a couple of Biju bombs into it. A blow and the enemy's back was as if drilled. A couple of seconds and pieces of one of Pain's bodies flew into the air like confetti. Pain stopped treating the blonde like a bug and became more serious with him. He used a summoning, which caused a huge white cloud to appear, from which 3 huge carcasses with Reningans and piercings emerged. "If so, then it's time to even the odds," said the blonde, dodging the attacks. He folded the shadow clone seals, as his part of the battlefield was covered in the same white smoke, but only 3 clones of Kurama came out from there. Of course, they were weak, because Naruto couldn't put more of her chakra, otherwise the Sharingan bastard would come and seal the clones into a statue. The 9-tailed clones almost made all of Pain's body's eyes pop out of their sockets, and his summons was shaking. An order is an order, but I want to live, and I want to live so much. And then the Bacchanalia began. Biju bombs were flying in all directions. Naruto ran like a flash across the field, which used to be a forest, somewhere Chewbacca Tensei was gathering. In the end, Pain was left with his last body. Naruto ran towards him to attack, as he was hit by Chewbacca Tensei. "Naruto, throw a Biju bomb with the maximum amount of chaos chakra at him, the center of the technique, where the black ball is," said Kurama. Naruto immediately did what she said. But what will such an action lead to? Naruto will not like it. Kurama, what have we done?" the blonde screamed. He, together with Pain, with all the trees, rocks, and other pieces of the landscape, was spinning around the orbit of Chewbacca Tensei. "Come on, we won't die for you, we're immortal," she began to calm him down. "You tell that to my head and my stomach," Naruto said, feeling dizzy and gagging. Kurama did not stand aside and also began to feel the same symptoms. And this carousel did not stop, it spun faster and faster until it suddenly disappeared. Our heroes collided with the last body of Pain and flew God knows where. "Oh, damn, I almost broke my back," said the blonde. The body of the rhino-eyed man was turned into a pancake under the weight of 2 Biju. And at the end of the tunnel sat Pain himself and Kannan. Then Naruto therapy began, and in the end Pain, at the cost of his life, revived the shinobi killed nearby. Naruto took one Rinnegan and wanted to take the other one, just like Tobi took the second one. Konan tried to stop him, but lost her head. "We'll meet again, Uzumaki Naruto." Uchiha disappeared into the funnel. On another part of the front, there was a battle with the Kage according to canon. Well, more or less, but that's another story, which I won't tell. End of the section. Commentary on Part 17. War. Hello everyone. I was planning to release the part earlier, but we were given samples for the OGE and tomorrow there will be one of them in Russian. And to be honest, Russian is not my language. I barely get a C in it. Well, that's all. Part 18. The end is getting closer and closer. Another part of the front. And here he comes out of the coffin, the god of shinobi, Madara Uchiha. Damn, the chakra is running out, and we can only dream about sealing Madara. Naruto's clone was nervous. But he and the other shinobi were reassured by the appearance of the 5 Kage. "Here we are," they said. Meanwhile, Madara was chatting with Kabuto about this and that until the conversation turned to the Rinnegan. "So, I already have it?" Uchiha asked again. "Yes, I transplanted Hashirama's cells into you," the bespectacled man answered. Then, he said and activated the Rinnegan. A meteorite flew at the army of shinobi, but it was stopped by Gaara and the well-known grunt. "And how do you like the second one?" Madara asked with a crazy smile, and now the second meteorite fit on the first one like ice cream scoops. "My back," said Katabik and began to fall to the ground, and with him the meteorites. "Well, I knew something like this would happen someday." Naruto made a handface gesture. But he didn't just stand there, he ran to crush the meteorites. In the end, he minimized losses among ordinary soldiers, but now we definitely don't have enough chakra to seal the Uchiha Ichihu. Kurama was angry. We may not seal it, but, the blonde said and began to whisper something in the fox's ear. Madarara. I'll castrate you now. Growled Kurama in human form with fox attributes, dressed in shinobi clothes. The clothes were similar to Konoha's, but it was without a protector, a jonin vest and other distinctive signs of the villages. KKQB, Madara was surprised and wanted to subdue the nine-tailed, but nothing happened. He began to fold the seals. As we begin there were a couple of seals. What, I can't move, he asked. And for a couple of hours you will still feel pain. And your regeneration will be slow. After all, Uzumaki technology is the best in the world. Said the fox and swung and hit the Uchiha in the groin with all the available force, adding mini Biju bombs. Improved 1,000 years of pain technique RPG Uchiha. Naruto said and sent Madara flying far away. After that, the clones disappeared, leaving only a white haze. Meanwhile, the real Naruto sat in the camp and waited for the Rinnegan to take root. Your new dojutsu will take hold soon, so I have to teach you how to use these eyes. It's not just like that, I asked my father about everything. So, you will only have 3 abilities out of 6, but I don't know which ones. I hope they will be useful in battle. And now the author will try to explain to you, why didn't the main characters seal Madara? 1. It will be boring. 2. Sealing the god of shinobi is not that easy, and the clones that will soon disperse will only delay him. Are you all happy? Did your author, lazy ass, deign to explain at least something? And most importantly, Itachi and Sasuke dispelled the resurrection technique. But since there will be less and less canon going forward, one moment that happened before the dispel needs to be explained. There was a large-scale battle going on near the coast. Ino Shikocho was fighting Asuma. But Naruto's clone with the Cloud Shinobi had to fight Genkaku and Kinkaku, and it seemed like the battle was going on as usual until Kurama told Naruto something in the middle of the battle that would have been better if it hadn't happened. Naruto. These two easily have enough of my chakra to awaken the Ten Tails. Even though it will be weak, it is still the strongest Biju. By this time, the Cloud Shinobi, as per canon, had sealed 2 Pseudo-Jinchuriki into an artifact. Well, into this barrel of honey. Calm down, Kurama. We sealed him. The blonde wanted to calm her down, but Obito came. Bonjour, said he and ran for the barrel of honey. Naruto of course blocked his passage and did not let him in, while Obito with the help of Kamui at the barrel. And so he takes it in his hands, as a black lightning struck him, that the barrel flew out a good 10 meters. Well, that's it, you've got me. Obito said. Naruto and Kurama only now saw the Rinnegan in his eye. A statue of Getamaz appeared in front of everyone, who took the artifact with the false Madara, ran God knows where, and even crushed a couple dozen shinobi with clones of the blonde and the nine-tailed. It's a fox, Naruto said. Yes. And Madara is still alive. Kurama was upset. That is? He broke the contract. End of the section. Part 19. Invincible monster The entire army was shaking in fear. Even Naruto and Kurama were twitching nervously. They didn't even know what was worse, an uncontrolled monster capable of destroying the entire world, or the same monster, but under the control of the shinobi god. Surrender, we have already defeated you, said Tobi. No way, Naruto answered him. Naruto, me and Gyuki won't be enough here, Kurama hinted to him. I know. The blonde whispered and went forward together with the fox and killer bee. In a couple of seconds, Gyuki, Kurama, and the golden fox, Naruto, appeared on the field. Everyone's eyes widened at the sight of 2 foxes with 9 tails. No one waited long and the 4 Biju began a large-scale battle. The 3 were going to win in hand-to-hand combat using their numerical advantage, but unfortunately, all their advantage was nullified by the power of the Ten Tails. He, the ten-tailed one, met them with his tails as he approached, which were not small in size, the size of the Biju themselves. All 3 Biju flew back from the strong uppercut and made craters with their bodies. Having gathered, they went into long-range combat, i.e. began to shower the enemy with a hail of Biju bombs. When the dust and smoke from the explosion scattered, a living ten-tailed appeared before everyone, only the tails were turned into a sieve, but they immediately began to heal. What would the 10-tailed one say if he could say, "I don't give a shit"? Yes. I'll crush you like a spider with a slipper. Kurama freaked out and, tearing the nearest mountain out of the ground, threw it at the monster. The two Uchiha on the Biju were stunned by this. There was a roar, and waves of dust and dirt flew from all sides. And it seemed that they, the Uchihas with the 10-tailed beast, would not do anything against the mountain. But in the blink of an eye, the mountain was shattered into pieces, and in the middle of the field stood the 10-tailed beast in humanoid form. "My dear mother," said Sasuke, who had approached along with Oric and the resurrected Kage. "Sasuke, you have Manjikyu, right? Can you lend me Amaterasu for a few minutes?" Naruto asked. "Naruto?" Uchiha looked at the golden fox as if he were the seventh wonder of the world, and the others did not lag behind him. "Son?" Minato was surprised. "There is no time for explanations now. Sasuke, drive out the black flame." The young Bija shouted, pointing to his right hand, which held a Bija bomb with the maximum amount of chaos chakra allowed. The Uchiha trusted the fox and covered Amaterasu with his technique. And the opponents looked at it with interest. Naruto, with the help of an improved Hiraishin, appeared in front of the 10-tailed beast in a couple of seconds and aimed his hand, covered in a hellish mix, at the only eye of the Biju. But this time Madara intervened, creating Susanna armor of maximum strength, and in a second, the 10-tails looked at Naruto and said, "I'm going to punch you in the face right now," hit him with all his might. He flew into Kurama and Gyuki. White smoke appeared where he fell, and then Killer Bee, Naruto, and Kurama in human form could be seen. "It's a fox," said the blonde, barely breathing. "Listen," Shikaku's voice rang out in everyone's head. "Having analyzed the entire battle, I can say that all of the 10-tails' actions are happening strictly according to the commands of those two. That means we need to throw them off the tailed beast, and then we can divide it into parts, Biju, much more easily." "Well, how can we do this? Have you even seen the size of this monster? 3 Biju couldn't handle it, so what are we going to do?" "Of course, I understand that the Nara are the smartest, but I don't understand your logic." The Raikage was indignant. "This is of course true, but if you follow one tactic..." Countless techniques flew at the 10-tails and the Uchihas from all sides. The tailed beast sent a Biju bomb into a huge group of shinobi, but it was blocked by Kurama. The fire on the 10-tails did not stop, and the Biju's attack attempts were blocked by the protagonist and other allies of his size, Kurama, Killer Bee, and Sasuke. Acting according to tactics, the army of shinobi began to push back the 10-tails, and now Naruto is flying at Madara with Tobi and has already swung at the masked man, and the god of shinobi is almost sealed, like. In a couple of seconds, almost everything living and non-living was pierced by wooden stakes. Naruto, having pulled out all the splinters, like Kurama and Gyuki, approached the victims. Among them, he found Tsunade, whose stomach was pierced by a stake. Naruto did not even have time to do anything, as the Princess of Slimes was already standing as if nothing had happened with the Byakugo turned on. "I think that's how it's written, if anything, correct me." "Naruto, I will heal everyone, but from now on you will fight without me," she said and, having healed everyone, fell asleep from exhaustion. "Hey, what are you doing?" Tobi, or Obito, cried out, because the mask had flown off his face. It was half covered by black Zetsu. "Obito?" Kakashi and Minato were surprised, recognizing him. Resurrection technique. Zetsu used the technique, and Obito's lifeless body flew down. Meanwhile, Madara glowed green, and then became the Jinchuriki of the Nine-Tailed. "Ahaha, you're late," he said, and black pins pierced Naruto, Kurama, and Sasuke, not even having time to move from the spot. Eternal Tsukuyomi. End of the section. Commentary on Part 19. Invincible Monster. Hi all. I'll just tell you a few words. First, the next part will explain why the 10-tails is so strong and much more. Secondly, the next part may or may not be the last one. As for its release, I swear on the life of Rey Skywalker that the next part will take off earlier. Why not life? I just don't feel sorry for it. Part 20. The final boss. Equals 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 equals. Where am I? Naruto asked into the void. We're in another mess again, said Kurama, appearing from the pocket of his pants. Are we in the subconscious? Asked the blonde, looking at the kitsune. I doubt it, it's too empty here, and you're not a Jinchuriki anymore. And this emptiness doesn't look like a place of rebirth, she answered. But my daughter and son-in-law came to visit. When is the wedding? Said. Father. Kurama screamed and attacked Hagoromo. Kurama, you'll crush me. The old man barely managed to say. When the Biju reluctantly let him go, he moved on to the important conversation. Listen, you are still alive, but you can't go back to the war yet. Why is that? The Biju asked simultaneously. I'll explain now. While you were traveling, a war broke out in other worlds. It quickly gained momentum, so much so that even the gods and their followers joined in. In the end, having united with all the gods, they destroyed a creature rather than a man who could destroy worlds. We won, but the consequences? Not the best. There was a similar situation before,